Join themselves tonight at the Pure Run. Let's thank the Pure team, having hosting these events around the region every Wednesday night and then putting on a good show at the end of the year. So I think last year Jason and I were talking after we had a chat with Mona here, and we thought, who else can we pull out of the bag? And we thought we'll get Lloydie up here. Welcome back to Newcastle. This is about your third visit in the last few weeks. What's the attraction in Newcastle?
Oh, I just know a few people up here, unfortunately. you being one of them. I've known Dottie for about 40 years, so it's been a long time.
All right, now let's go back to the beginning. You arrived in Australia in the early 60s as a 10-pound pom.
Yeah.
So what are your early memories of Australia?
Sunburn first, come from England, so we had never seen the sun like it was and had no idea about sunburn. So yeah, first week we got sunburnt severely.
All right.
But it was a lot warmer, less rain, it was fantastic.
And sporting scene, were you into sport? You were about 5, weren't you, when you come out here?
Yeah, I was 5 when I came out here. I played no sport, basically, right through school. I've tried to avoid sport. I used to get on the sports list, then get myself taken off, and then I'd go fishing. But, yeah, not a real sporty person at the time.
Now, is it true that it was bribery that got you into running early on?
Yeah, so I was probably a troubled kid who always got in trouble and stuff. My mum offered me $5 to run in the school cross country, which I did and I won, and then she gave me another $5 if I'd win the zone, which I did, and then I'd get to the region and that was it. I wouldn't make the state. But I still never trained until one day when I was 16. I won the zone cross country by a country mile by about 2 minutes. I ran faster than the opens. And his teacher from another school, Stuart McNeil, decided he wanted to coach me, and that's where all my life changed. So it was meeting the right person at the right time, and it was good. It was a great journey. So
started in Melbourne, and you moved up to the northern beaches of Sydney. And just tell us a bit more about the early days of the Go Jog Running Club.
Oh, that's this teacher. He had this running club. He was a maths teacher at Narrabeen High School, and I was at Pittwater. But we all came together on Saturdays and Sundays and all ran 5 or 8K and then long ones on Sunday, and then we go to fun runs. That was the height of the fun run season, was like in the 70s and 80s, early 80s. It was a great lifestyle, and we all went away and went all over the country, and yeah, it was great fun. Had a great time. Didn't do as much training as I should have, because they had this deal, if you ran 20 days in a row you got a hat, and if you ran 50 days you get a singlet, and if you run 100 days, you get shorts as well and a pair of shoes. After a year, Stuart McNeil said, here you go, here's your hat, here's your singlet, here's your shorts, and here's your shoes. He gave up.
So one of my goals is to actually find a Go Jog running cap. They're a bit like that, little golf caps we go. We just can't find one. We're sort of checking around amongst the old guys, and it'd be right up there with the sporting memorabilia.
Oh, yeah.
I reckon. So tell us a little bit more about the influence that Stuart McNeil and maybe some other characters had on you in your early running days as you were an emerging athlete.
Yeah, they had a great influence, you know. I had no idea about running, and neither did Stuart, but he had so much enthusiasm, it was great. And some of the other people started coming along. There was a German guy called Ernie Krinkles who was an 800-metre runner from Germany. So he decided to show us how to do track work, and getting onto that, and then everything progressed over the years, and going through all these fun runs where you went away for the weekend and raced and won prizes and money. It was fantastic as a young bloke. But yeah, those guys influenced us and showed us how to train, and it was always a social event, especially if you went with a guy called Goldie, who was in the club scene as an entertainer, and he'd be out and gets home at like 2 in the morning, get up early to come for the run, and he'd tell jokes the whole way for 2.5 hours, and that long run felt like 30 minutes. It was fantastic. So yeah, it was a great time, and I met so many different people over the years. It was a wonderful time, great experience.
Now, Stuart used to drag you out of bed early in the morning sometimes. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, right at the beginning when he decided to train me, he'd knock on my door Monday to Friday. Mum would open the door, and she'd go, he's in his bedroom. He'll open the door, drag me out of bed, and we run 8K. And he used to kick my ass for about 6 months. Then when I turned the tables on him, he sort of didn't have to knock on the door anymore after a little while.
So I was trying to think, Stuart was probably a little bit of a cross between a robbo with his charisma and entrepreneurial side, with Al McCloskey, you know, the mildly eccentric, really getting alongside people and really encourage them, and the influence that he had on a generation of runners. And we received the sad news today that Stuart had a stroke today.
Yeah, he had a massive stroke today and he's in hospital, intensive care. We're thinking of him at the moment, so he was a very special person in my life, and hope he pulls through.
Yeah. So you started running, going to fun runs. That was the year of every weekend around Sydney there'd be a fun run. You sort of started, you know, getting highly placed and winning. Took on the, given the name of the Fun Run King. Tell us a bit about those days of travelling all around Sydney and beyond in Stuart's combi van and then your own van later on, and going to these runs, and, you know, I guess as an 18, 19, 20-year-old, winning most of them. How was that?
Oh, it was a fantastic time. I remember we used to see what races were on for the weekend, and then we'd divide them up. Which one are you going to? Which one are you going to? And we'd all go to different ones, some of us, who were going to win it. So I always picked the best prize, and then the others could sort them out for the lesser prizes. But but it was great, you know. We went all over the country. Cherry Time Festival, where they had a cherry stop halfway through the race, where you could eat cherries. Don't know why. Went to Dubbo, went to all these places you'd never gone to. And I remember once we went to Mudgee and got stuck into the red wine. Forgot to put the tent up before we went out, and put it up when we got back. And when we woke up, there was a full posted tent, and there was only 3 posts up, and it looked like a teepee. Then we raced the next day. But yeah, it was all fun.
So my trick was to get in a team with these guys. So Lloydie would win. Our mate Danny Bolts would come second. I'd probably be anywhere between about 8th and 20th. And inevitably we'd pick up the team prize. So a little big for me to tag along behind these guys. So then the stakes get a bit bigger. So City to Surf. I do remember you leading the 78 City to Surf.
Yeah, I was still a spring chicken then.
Yeah, and I remember going by you at Double Bay. And,
that was about 3,000th. Finished about 3,000th that year.
But then, you know, the stakes getting bigger. You're picking up City to Surfs for Melbourne Marathon. So you're only 20 and you're winning the Melbourne Marathon. So what's that like when you're now travelling a bit further? You're doing some track races, Zatapex and things like that?
Yeah, it was good. I remember the first time I went to Melbourne Marathon, I was a ring-in. Remember, as you were trying to be part of the team, we used to run with the guys who were about 40 and they wanted a team, and one of the guys pulled out at last minute and they said, "Oh, can you come down, Lloydie?" Hadn't been training for the marathon or anything. I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll come down." Ran with the team, and it was a really, really hot day, and all the people in front of us, like the leaders, all fell away. It was like 26, 28 degrees, and I found myself out in the front, so I kept on carrying and won the race, and they won the teams, which was good. But yeah. And then from the Melbourne Marathon, the Zatopek was probably when I started getting into the track racing, and Zatopek is probably a premier 10k race in the country, even better than the national titles. And even sometimes they had the national titles in conjunction with the Zatopek. So to win that, I think I won that 4 times or so. It was a big deal, and you know, it was always good to beat the Victorians, including Monas.
So you've training, you're doing more track, and then you're heading down to the Australian Institute of Sport in Canberra. You're coming under your coach Dick Telford. So was that a different era when you were at the Institute and you're training, you know, with Deek and those guys down there?
Yeah, well, I went down, I was under Pat Cloessi, and for right at the beginning, and I didn't like the way he was coaching people and stuff, so I started doing my own thing. And then my wife at the time was getting coached by Dick Telford, and I thought, well, instead of me thinking about it, he can look after me, and I asked him to coach me, and we created a great team because he coached myself, Carolyn Shawallow and Lisa Ondiki, all Australian title holders, and yeah, pretty good runners. And
can you remember the quote that Dick puts in his book about you that you said to him? Can you remember that?
Yeah. When we were at the Commonwealth Games, he comes up to me and goes, "Oh, what's your strategy, Lloydie? What do you think you're going to be doing?" And I said, "Mate, that's your job. You tell me what to do. I'll do the running. That's why you're the coach. You do my thinking." And that's the quote in his book.
Okay, so you're down at the Institute of Sport with those guys, and then everything changes one night. Married to Lynn, you're travelling along. What do you remember that night? I think June 1985.
1985, we were heading down, had a caravan down on the coast, and we're heading down there, and we had a head-on with a truck. I was in and out of consciousness for a little while, and I was trapped in the car. My friend was Nick DiCasello was in the car in the front. My wife at the time was Lynn. She was asleep in the back. Truck went over, ripped the roof off, all the doors, and then I sort of passed out and woke up in the ambulance and asked where Lynn was, and then passed out again. And finally, when I got on the surgery table, I asked where Lynn was, and they said, "Oh, she's dead." That was the worst thing I ever heard, and then I passed out, and I spent 6 weeks in hospital in traction. I had pins and bolts in my ankle, and this is all I had left of my arm. They were lucky to save it because the nerve was still intact, otherwise I would have been harmless. So yeah, so it was a trying time, and it was a mental time too. I had to persevere, and I remember waking up in hospital fully in traction, and they said they're going to have to set my arm in one position. And they said, "Oh, we'll set up here eating," and I said, "No, set it down low, I want to be a runner." So I decided to give it a go, and what kept me going was, even though the shit hit the fan with me, and I always thought there was someone else worse off than I'll ever be, I could still walk eventually and everything else. So that gave me a bit of encouragement to get off my arse and stop wallowing in someone's misery and get on with it, and that's what I did.
And I mean, you're told you'd probably never run again, but what was it like the first few steps, the first few runs?
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. I remember going down and watching the guys on the track training, and then they go off to do their warm down afterwards, and when no one was looking, I hopped on the track and thought I'd do a one lap. And my ankle was still like swollen, and I tried to run 400 metres. I got to 200 metres, and it was a slow 200 metres. Probably took me about a minute to do it. And I was hobbling and stuff, and then I thought, it can't get any worse than this. I can only get better from there, so which did, but it was a lot of pain, a lot of perseverance, and yeah.
And then 13 months later, you line up for the City to Surf and take it out. What did that win mean for you?
I did that for Lynn. That was a big win. I had pins and bolts in my ankle as well, so I knew I was going to be in pain afterwards, but yeah, it was good. So it was one of the slowest times I've ever run, but it was still a win.
A win's a win in the City to Surf.
A win's a win.
When they come around. So, then comes around Seoul Olympics. You're in the 5,000. You got through the first heat. You're in the semi-final.
Yeah.
How was your Olympic experience?
It was good. It could have been better. I just didn't fire up that race, and I was in the 10. I pulled out the 10 because I wasn't feeling too good, and because I've been under a lot of stress, they diagnosed me with irritable bowel syndrome. So I had to, get that all sorted. So once we sorted that out later on, I started coming good again. So it was just, I was under a lot of stress because I was getting criticised by the selectors and all these know-it-all people say, "Oh, you're no good, you're bloody crap." And when I decided to forget what they were saying, just think about myself, everything changed. So, and I had a lot of good doctors at the shrinks at Institute of Sport, where they got me to channel my thoughts in the right places instead of the negatives. And yeah, it was a big change. I was getting operations still after the accident, corrective surgery all the time, so I was stopping and going, and these people didn't even know what was going on behind the scenes, so, and they were always criticising me, so yeah. But I had the last laugh.
Yeah, unfortunately, that often it's the way it's been in Australian sport, hasn't knocked down the guys that are at the top and knocked back them. So the Commonwealth Games rolled around in Auckland. What sort of shape you in? Do you qualify? How does that go to qualification, and who else is running?
Yeah, I was in a really good form. I knew in the grapevine, and my friend, where is he?
I don't think he's here. Forbesy.
No, not Forbesy. Big guy about. Rundle, yeah. I knew what was going on because he just told me, he confirmed what I knew, that if I didn't win the trials, I wasn't going, even though I had multiple qualified times and all this, because Brian Rowe's a dickhead, sorry to say, boys, girls. He's just not a nice person. So I won it and I knew I was in, but I was still worried just in case they were trying to find some other excuse to keep me out of the team. But I was in the greatest form of my life. I've beaten some Kenyans over in Japan in the national cross country. Over there they had the all Japanese cross country. They have an international field. I beat them there, and I beat them in the Essendon relays. So I was mixing up with the Kenyans, and on the roads too, in the States. So I was beating them over there. So I was in super form. And realistically, when I went to the games, if I got in the top 5, I'd be happy.
So the race rolls around. You've got a strategy with Coach Dick Telford. So you're in the race. In the race, you've got John Ngugi, who's the reigning Olympic champion, and he dominated the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
He's won multiple world cross country, so he's in a league of his own. The race is a couple of laps on. There's a fall. Ngugi goes down. He gets really angry. He gets up within a lap. He heads to the front. The crowd is right behind him. Could you see him just pulling away, or you just?
I didn't even know he fell at the time. So because I was in front of him at the time, and he just went past me. So I saw him at 88 because I was at the Olympics there, and I saw what he did to the field. And the Olympics, what he did to the field there, and I thought, oh, here we go again. He's just going to wind everyone up. Hit him really hard on the straight and then cruise around the bends and hit him in the straights. That's what he was doing before. And he just took off. I had no idea he'd fallen over.
Then there's another fall, and your friend Yobi's on Diki, another Kenyan, goes down. So the two big names have gone down.
He's a 5,000 metre record holder.
Yep, so at the time, first guy to go under
13 minutes.
13 minutes.
No, he was the second guy.
Just over.
Yeah,
the two big guys have gone down. One's gone to the lead. You're there, and let's pick up the race with 2 laps.
Oh, here we go. Oh, can everyone see it? Oh.
Goes through, but it's Ngugi who leads from Williams and then Rowland.
Andrew Lloyd's also running a very courageous race, and let's hope he really gutses it out and stays there with Kerry Roger as he moves through.
Yes, Roger is running 4th and Andrew Lloyd is running 5th. So it's been a very good performance by Lloyd. Number 564, John Ngugi, 4 times world cross-country champion. And he's going to really make them earn this medal, but hasn't he earned it himself, if in fact he's going to be successful. An unbelievable performance by Ngugi, who fell, lost the best part of 50 metres, and within the space of a lap had sprinted around the field and had regained control of the race. This would be a sensational performance if Ngugi is able to go on and win it. And he is applying immense pressure in the latter stages of this event. As he comes down to the finish line, he's got 2 laps left to run. In second place is Williams, and running with him is Rowland. Moses Tanui is the Kenyan running in 4th place, then Roger, then Lloyd. Ian Hamer from Wales completes the pursuing pack. And Ngugi into the back straight. In pursuit of Rowland and Williams.
How good is this man, Wally? Look, he's set this field up 50 metres and he's 50 metres in front again now.
And now the 3rd pack is starting to close on the 2nd. Roger is starting to tack onto the back of both Rowland and Williams, and Tanui has also gone in. So now it's a pack of 6 athletes that are out in pursuit of John Ngugi. Ngugi must be tired. He's coming down into the home straight. He's got just over 1 lap to run. He comes down to get the bell. And the Olympic champion leads this 5,000 metre field through. This will be one of the most remarkable victories in Commonwealth Games history, if he can pull it off. After him goes Rowland. In there also is Andrew Lloyd, who's well placed to win a medal. Kerry Roger is there from New Zealand.
This is great. Andrew Lloyd, as I know, has got a lot of speed. These guys are quick 1,500 metre runners, but Lloyd is there with a real chance.
Hamer's there from Wales, Roger from New Zealand, and now Tanui breaks away from that bunch, and Hamer goes with him. Hamer, in fact, has passed Tanui. Lloyd's going also, and they're closing rapidly on the race leader, John Ngugi. It's Ngugi. Lloyd is running brilliantly. Hamer is in second place. Lloyd is third. Ngugi is tiring badly. Ngugi has a look around. The gap is narrowed to about 6 or 7 metres. Lloyd takes off after Hamer and passes him. And now Andrew Lloyd takes off after the Olympic champion. Lloyd is bearing down on top of Ngugi. Ngugi digs deep, but he's got no more. And Andrew Lloyd wins the gold medal for Australia. Andrew Lloyd, whose performances in major events has been questioned previously, has stolen the 5,000 metres from the Olympic champion, John.
So, 0.08 seconds.
Yeah, the race is never finished till it crossed that line, mate. That's what it's all about.
Now, the guy with his pitwater education and
It's always been
semi-literate,
a joke.
on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald the next day was
Bugger the silver, I'm going for gold.
Bugger the silver.
Love it.
I'm going for gold. So what a great attitude. Now, so what was it like? What was life like after that? I mean, there wasn't a lot of jumping up and down.
Yeah, well, I didn't even see that. Like when they dragged me off to the studios and I had no idea, I thought I just won a race, no big deal, whatever. And then when I saw the footage, I went, well, I shouldn't say that word, but you know, I was going, shit, seriously. So it surprised even me what I did. So yeah.
And I don't think I'd ever seen Ken Sutcliffe just lost the words. He was just absolutely stunned that night he interviewed him. Now, just a reflective question. You know, I ran my first marathon on the day you ran your first marathon. I was 16, you were 18, the Hardball Diggers Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
So from a young age, we're just, if you're a runner, you're just pushed into the marathon.
marathons, yeah.
You won the Melbourne Marathon at 20. And here you are, 12 years later, doing a 5,000. So in hindsight, we all got pushed up to the longer events, and yet you've got the speed of a 15
Yeah. The biggest mistake, I should have been a 1500 runner. I've out-kicked all the Australian 1500 metres we've had, you know, all the champions over the years, Simon Doyle, Hillard, Scammell, you name them, I out-kicked them all. And but I wanted to be a marathoner at the time, and that's what happened.
Well, that was it, wasn't it?
And then you moved down. After my accident, I found it hard to run marathons at a sort of pace. So I decided to do track, and I stuck at the 5 and 10s, which I was pretty good at it. So, but yeah, I should have been a 1500 runner. I was an 800 runner when I left at school, you know, but because they shafted me there at school when I won the all schools 800 state title, but they sent a private school kid instead. That's what changed me. Could have been different over the years, but never mind. That's life.
So I want to throw it open to some Q&A, but just one more question. So coming up to the region of runners, and a few times you've got a Flyer shirt, now you've got a Wurter shirt. I believe that you've got a running goal. What's your current running goal?
Well, my running goal, I think there's 9 clubs here or 7 clubs. I've still got to get another 5 shirts, okay?
All right, yeah.
But my running goal, I'm going to do the Gold Coast Marathon. We're going head-to-head. When I open the gates of fury over you and kick your ass in the marathon. It's going to be an ugly sight, seriously.
So it's time for the Gold Coast Marathon. So questions for Lloydie from the floor.
Can I go first?
Jason?
Who did you fear the most to run against?
No one in particular, you know. I just took every race as it was. Monas always gave me a hard time on the road, but on the track he was a pushover. Deke also on the road, I'd struggle, but generally I didn't fear anyone. Pat Scammell occasionally over a shorter distance, not Pat Scammell, Pat Carroll, but nah, not really anyone. I just knew where I could be. If I was with them in contact, they were sitting ducks. So that's all I had to do is maintain contact, and that was it.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. With like in that race, with 2 laps to go, what were you thinking, and then with 1 lap to go, what were you thinking?
Well, I thought with 2 laps to go, I thought, oh, I'm definitely going to get in the top 5 here. Yeah. A lap to go, I thought, well, 3rd looks good. Silver looks better, and then it was bugger the silver, I'm going for gold. So, and I knew I was just I was hoping to get there just before the finish line. You know, I was just running out of the runway. You know, there wasn't going to be much left in it. So that's why I just put the burners on and tried to get across there as fast as I could. So, and I just did it. Yeah.
So nutrition. When you came out, you said you had a beer before. Was that standard? A beer before every big race?
Oh, we did have a few beers. I used to room with this Irish guy in Europe when we were doing the track, and he'd have 6 pints the night before a big race. Sometimes 8, and I used to room with him, so I used to get collared with him as well. And he'd either win it or get second or third, and I'd be about 8th. So
So you're not drinking enough?
no, I couldn't drink as much as he could. But then I was only 54 kilos too at race weight. So I'm 70 now, so it's a bit of a lot of weight to cart around at the moment.
You used to go and buy a kilo of prawns every now and then, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I'm a mad seafood addict. We used to get prawns. I remember people used to invite me to go to races up the coast. I remember went to Geraldton for a mile race, and I said, "Oh, you've got to take me fishing," which they did. And I said, "Oh, I wouldn't mind a few lobsters on the way back." So yeah, no worries, we sorted it out. And I said, "Oh yeah, your lobster's on board, no problems. And it's down the hole. You just pick it up at the finish." Oh yeah, oh no worries. So I go to pick up my bags and I had 50 lobsters. I go, what the hell am I going to do with these? So there was a big barter trade going on at the AIS. So yeah, it was good. And then, what's the other one they did? Oh, I used to, at the Institute of Sport, we had the kitchen. One of my mates who ran the whole kitchen, he liked fishing, so we used to go fishing, and I used to get him running shoes when he wanted some running shoes. And then occasionally he'd phone me up and goes, "Oh, we're going fishing today." I said, "Oh, whereabouts?" He goes, "Cold seas." So we go to cold seas and get all the prawns, seafood and everything. And my fridge is always permanently stacked with seafood. So yeah, it was a good time, good fun.
And I still remember nights out in the city, we might go into Hoyts to a movie, and then where do we go to eat afterwards?
It's called, I don't know what it was really called.
The York Street Lantern.
Yeah, we called it Chew and Spew. It was $3 all you can eat.
And the more you chew?
The more you spewed. Oh, I tell you. We were a real class act in those days. They were the young days. They were stupid days.
Lloydie, did you kick like that in your longer runs as well? I mean, like a couple laps to go, you obviously found...
Yeah.
But I mean, was that consistent when you were doing like marathons?
Yeah, I could always run on empty for 400 metres at least. Now, a lot of people can only do half 400 and then nothing. I was always trained to, because Dick Telford used to get me to do rep miles, and then we'd have a lap jog, and then he'd give me wind downs over 400 metres where I'd do 58, 56, 55, 54 for the last 400. So, and then he'd get me to do the 200s, and we'd do 6 in 25 seconds with a 200 little float. So yeah, I always had that. And then we used to do these where you do a 400 and you cruise up 300 at the first 100, you start picking it up. Time you hit the 200, you snap into the full burst. So you have that explosive speed. So you have that switch over speed at 300, then another one at 200. And a lot of people don't do that. So, and that's what you've got to train at. You've got to have that double kick. And you see some of the guys do. Some of the top guys, they have that double kick where they can go and then hit it again.
You heard it here at Pure, the double kick. That's what you're working on. Steve, just back from studying college running scene, you better tell them about the double kick when you get back to your college there training, mate.
Which college are you going to?
It's a small town in Kansas. It's
Oh, yeah.
a big community college.
You know Ollie Hoare?
Not really.
He won the Big 10, is it? The big cross country over there?
I think
Big
10's
Big 8 or Big 8,
I
10?
think it's Big 8. Yeah.
Big 8, yeah. He won that as a freshman. His dad runs with me every Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, he's a young guy, 19, 18, 19, I think. Got the scholarship over there. He loves it. He's got a big future over there. So, you know, cherish what you got and make sure you use it. And make sure you get your grades too. Don't be a pit water boy like I was.
Let's have a chat to Steve and find out about the college scene over there in the US. Now, another aspect of our training early on, this would have been, I guess, maybe around the 1974, 1975. Every Saturday, Stuart McNeil would have us running a really hard handicap race.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was a brilliant handicapper, and we'd just thrash ourselves every week. And then I don't think we realised what was happening, but all of a sudden we switched to these really long, slow Sunday runs. That was really the influence of Arthur Lydiard as a coach. So here we are as teenagers running 20, 25k easy through the bush. What are your memories of those days and that type of training?
Actually, I found them really enjoyable, actually. It was just good, and especially with Goldie telling all the jokes all the time, so that passed away, and we're running out to West Head and doing a, 30-odd K, I can't remember how far it was, but it was just brilliant to be outside on a Saturday or Sunday morning and, you know, just looking at nature and having a good chat and stuff.
And I think we learnt that you don't have to flog yourself.
No, well, it's Arthur Lydiard's scene, and I know years later I've had a number of beers with Arthur all over the place. I used to run into him overseas all the time, and Lloydie, come on, let's go get a beer. Okay, which meant I was going to have about a dozen. So, yeah.
So if you want to do some reading, look up Arthur Lydiard. He's probably the person who has been the single biggest influence on the way that we train today.
Long, slow distance.
Long, slow, low running.
LSD, they called it.
Yeah. One or two more questions for Lloydie?
Silent majority. Oh, got one.
Is the Mo going to make a comeback for
I'll tell you that.
You had a special name for that Mo, didn't you?
Yeah, the porn Mo. Yeah, when I asked Sue to marry me, she goes, one condition, you shave that Mo off, right? So I did. And guess what? No one noticed I actually shaved it off. It was a real piss poor no. It was the worst one you could ever have. I'm not a hairy person.
That's a good thing though as you get older.
Yeah, well, I noticed I'm getting hair where I never had hair before. Apart from the nether regions.
When I was a young fella, I wanted a hair. Now that I'm old, I'm glad I haven't got it anymore.
I think they call that second puberty.
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting for first puberty.
All right, I think we might move on to another question. There's pure run, really. Final question for Lloydie. What's on your mind? Yes, up the back.
Okay, what brand sports shoe do you prefer, Adidas or Nike?
I use Hockers. They're fantastic for broken down old runners. They're fantastic for your knees. They're great. I love them.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for enlightening us here at the Regional Runners. Let's thank Lloydie.
Thanks, guys.